दोस्तों, किसी भी नेशन के लिए बच्चे एक बगीचे में कलियों की तरह होते हैं और उन्हें सावधानी पूर्वक और प्यार से पोषित किया जाना चाहिए, क्योंकि वो किसी भी नेशन के फ्यूचर ही नहीं बट होने वाले सिटीजन्स भी हैं। इसी आइडियोलॉजी पर बुलंदशहर में स्पार्क एस्ट्रोनॉमी लैब्स के फाउंडर आर्यन मिश्रा एक सेमी गवर्नमेंट वेंचर पर काम कर रहे हैं, जहां उन्होंने 105 लैब्स गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स में कंस्ट्रक्ट करवाई हैं, जहां लेबर क्लास फैमिलीज़ के बच्चों को वो स्पेस एजुकेशंस के बारे में अवेयर एंड एजुकेट कर रहे हैं। मैंने उनसे बहुत से इश्यूज़ के बारे में बात करी। आर्यन मिश्रा खुद एक एस्ट्रोनॉमर हैं और उन्होंने 2017 में मार्स एंड जुपिटर के बीच एक एस्टेरॉयड डिस्कवर किया। वो और भी बहुत सी कमेंडेबल चीज़ें कर रहे हैं एंड ही बिलीव्स that to work anywhere you have to know the ground reality। और इसी सोच के साथ वो बुलंदशहर में डिफरेंट गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स में इन एस्ट्रोनॉमी लैब्स को कंस्ट्रक्ट करवा रहे हैं। आज की सोसाइटी और टाइमिंग में हमें अपने आप से ये पूछना होगा कि क्या इस बढ़ते मॉडर्न वर्ल्ड में एडवांस्ड टेक्नोलॉजिकल स्किल्स में क्या हम मशीन्स को प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं या हम रियली इनोवेटिव थिंकर्स को प्रमोट कर रहे हैं। और मैंने ऐसे बहुत से सवाल आर्यन मिश्रा से किए। आई होप आपको भी इस पॉडकास्ट से उतना ही मज़ा आए जितना मुझे आर्यन मिश्रा से मिलकर आया। आई वेलकम यू टू कम एंड ग्रो विथ मी एंड लेट्स लर्न टुगेदर।
Aryan, I'm sure you must have heard of it. The cosmos is all that ever was and all that ever will be. That's a term that is pretty well known in the scientific community. I want to ask, when a young person in India wants to start knowing more about astronomy or they want to pursue astronomy, especially for a young person, a millennial or a Gen Z, your name comes at top of that list. How does that feel?
Deep down, if you ask me, it actually creates a lot of pressure. When I say it's pressure, basically is that when you get visible, the visibility is good, but if the visibility is coming for a good cause, then it's a good thing. And visibility comes with responsibility, and responsibility is very huge. So I often consider this visibility as very dangerous for me. And deep down, if you ask me more than me, my parents are actually more excited when they see my name. If you remember, my father is a newspaper seller, and if a newspaper seller kid comes in newspaper, it's of course a big deal. So I still have my cutouts. Back in the age of 14, 15, 16, whatever media coverage that I had, I always collected those media coverages and documented. Now when I get those media coverages, I basically don't collect it. Because there is one time which comes up, you think that I think I'm done. It's enough with the media. You wouldn't believe, actually, this is my first interview of this year. I usually I'm not into interviews and all, but this is my first podcast I'm doing this year. So.
But I think, man, with the work that you're doing on the ground, people should know about it. Not only because I know you're too modest and he doesn't want to sing praises of what he's doing, but I've seen the work, we've been on the ground, we've seen the kind of change that he's making, and it's excuse my language, but it's a fucking revolution. Aryan, I think according to me, you should take more platforms and talk about it because it speaks to everyone out there, parents, kids, and it gives out a message, man. Like, if you can be at a certain level with the work that you've done, and I'm sure it comes with its own cost, as we've talked about, I'm not going to mention some things there, but yeah, man, you deserve to be out there. You're a fucking killer and you're killing it.
Yeah, thanks boss, but yeah, I don't know how to exactly elaborate this, but yeah, I think if you look at this, the same thing is that I believe in, like, you keep doing, you don't have to be actually very much visible. So similarly, like you, I don't know you, but you found my story somewhere, you came and you approached me, and we are doing this today. Similarly, I'm sure that let me do my work, and somehow it will get noticed. So the entire district where I work, I just walk randomly on some street and there are people who come up and they say they know me and I've never met them. It's because I never ever even tweeted, or I never ever made anything that, oh look, I am in this district and I'm all that, but people still are visible. So the more gap you make with visibility, you will get visible on your own. You don't have to get visible. So I believe
But that's what true pleasure is. When your work or your mission becomes bigger than you, people start to recognize you from that. That's just something. That's total euphoria for me.
Definitely. Dude, there is no better feeling than sitting on an airport and somebody recognizing you, and it's just killer feeling. But it's been. If most of my flights, the cabin crew takes a picture with me. It's interesting.
He's gonna blush.
Cabin crew
I'm not gonna
taking picture and so yeah.
Aryan, for our guests, since your domain is astronomy, people, I think, in these times are more aware of astrology than astronomy, but they don't know that these both fields are interrelated, right? They both have been in our culture, in this land that we live in for thousands and thousands of years. In your own way, explain us what astronomy is exactly.
Basically, astronomy, if you make a Google search, what is astronomy, you will get a two-liner that it's a study of something beyond the Earth, it's a study of the solar system, it's a study of planets, it's a study. Astronomy is itself divided into many parts. There is a planetary science, and there is a guy who is an engineer who works only with the telescopes. There is a data scientist who only collects data. And there is a guy who makes a theory behind the data. And astronomy is a very vast field. And there are different kinds of astronomers also. There are, as I said, there are data scientists who only take data. So I am an observational astronomer. I only take observations in astronomy. I'm not an engineer. I don't build telescopes.
Indeed, you observed a big deal back in 2017.
Exactly. So my thing is to just observe things. So, and astronomy is one such field that which gives you peace, and I believe that astronomy is the only field which is so vast that even if I spend my 0.1, even if I spend my entire life, I still can't observe 0.1% of the universe. I don't know how many 0.0001% I still can't observe. Because as I said, if you look at the numbers, statistics, then the entire universe is still not visible to us. And the amount of visibility that we have seen is just like somewhere around 4 to 7% that is visible to us, and rest of the thing is not visible to us.
But tell me one thing, I'm sorry to cut you off. Everything that exists at the end of the day is energy, right? Are we at this point aware how much energy is there in the universe in terms of statics, of course?
So the mapping. So we have a mapping of the universe that we have described that this much is our own universe. In that we describe that 92% of the universe is running, 90 to 93% of the universe is running on dark matter. And that matter, and there is some, to run that matter there is a need of an energy. That's what we call dark energy. I'm describing this in very simple terms.
Yeah.
So that's how everything works out. So there is energy, but how much energy, quantity is something that nobody, because if you see the word dark energy which is dark means you cannot see. Science never says black is a color. When you find that darkness is black. So it's basically like that.
It's basically giving it a surface when it doesn't have a surface. It's the
pretty
depth
much.
of it. Yeah.
Pretty much, but yeah.
Interesting. Tell us what got you into the deep study of space, and while studying, how did you discover the asteroid between Mars and Jupiter? What was that like for you? Did you believe it that you found something? And when you did, how did you know? Like, okay, I've landed onto something.
If you ask me, to be honest, most of the scientific discoveries, if I describe the major discoveries, has never happened because they wanted to discover it. And you see, my story is very similar to it. I never knew what on a quest I am. I didn't know that, okay, I'm going to discover this. Even if you say today is 19th February, yesterday was 18th February. 18th February was the day when Pluto was discovered. So Pluto's discovery was done by a farmer. It was Tom Clydeburg, who used to work as an assistant to, there's a very famous astronomer, Lowell, Percival Lowell. He had an observatory, and that's where he used to work as an assistant to him. And Clydeburg told Lowell that, okay, look, this is where, so there's a thing at that point, they used to an instrument called blink comparator. So blink comparator's job was to
blink
comparator.
Blink comparator.
So the job of the blink comparator was to be to click pictures of the night sky, and they used to put it on a light, and they used to measure the distance between by one star. That's a very tidy work because there are thousands of stars that you're measuring. They used to take the pictures for years and months, and they used to measure each picture ka distance if it's moving.
Wow.
Stars, they always remain fixed. Like celestial objects like asteroids, planets, other thing, they rotate. Stars, they don't. So if there is a measurement difference between, then it can be anything. Lowell didn't see it, but Tom Clydeburg saw it, and Clydeburg told Lowell that this is what it can. At that point of time, they were finding planet X. That term was given as planet X. Beyond Neptune, there is one more planet. And the moment Lowell died, the next day, Clydeburg discovered Pluto. So, the moral of the story is that sometimes you should listen to your assistants. And another moral of the story is that most of the discoveries, they happen in a very interesting manner. The first telescope that was invented was an accidental discovery. But the guy who made it, Hans Lippershey, in 1604 in Netherlands, he never looked through the telescope, to the sky. He was looking at the King's Palace and nearby around city. Galileo Galilei, next year, he saw, in 1605, he saw, for the first time, he saw the sky. That's where he discovered most of the celestial objects. That's what he gets the credit of. Similarly, describing these two astronomical events, if I come to my story, it was very similar to it. I started getting observatory data, and we were looking through the telescopes. I never had a laptop, so I used to go to a cyber cafe I actually discovered that Asteroid, its terminology is 2014-00372 is the number that is given to it. I discovered it like cyber cafes, and it's a very funny discovery also, because I used to lie to my parents that okay, I'm going to tuition, but I'm going to a cyber cafe too. And the day I discovered it, I remember it was 13th August, and on 14th August it came to the newspaper, and I came back from the school, and my mother showed me the newspaper. It was Daily Jagrant, and they said that, look, you are in the newspaper. And I was like, Bhaiya ho gaya satyanas. And that day I didn't have any tuition, and I went to the tuition, and I was like, today my father is going to beat me so hard, because my parents never liked astronomy. I'm not saying they didn't like it. Both of my parents have never been.
Probably didn't understand the whole notion behind it.
Even I couldn't understand what is the future at that point of time. But I was just fascinated by the stars.
Right.
My first dream was to become a train engine driver. The reason was that because the honking of the train used to fascinate me. After that, stars, they fascinated me. I didn't even know that if you study astronomy, you are called as an astronomer. I got to know after a few years. So that's how it's been, that you are working on something, but you don't know the end result. That's the beauty of childhood.
Yeah.
But when you become an adult, you need the result of everything in life.
Yeah, you become very result oriented, and that's the thing. Like you start off on the right path, and that is something that I want to talk later about, which is your mission, that you're changing that whole thinking process of how we've become. We kind of start off at the right path, but then somewhere in the way you switch the way and you go backwards. You want the result first before the fucking journey, and but it can't happen like that. I was super pumped when I read about your discovery, because I did hear about you, but I did not know, like, okay, so this guy's known for discovering the asteroid. And then I read more about it. Like, no, it's not just the asteroid. There's more stuff that he's been doing, and which is what fascinated me to talk to you. I'm grateful that you're here with us today, man. I've seen your picture with Sunita Williams, and I know that she's been one of your idols, right? How did it feel standing by her? And I know that it's after that you started working mostly on your goals and on your vision, which you later turned into Spark Astronomy, guys. Flex. And how did that lead to the initiation? And how did it feel knowing the fact that in our school systems there's nothing about space study or astronomy, even though our granthas, our Vedas, talk largely about these things? How did it feel to not have that, and you're standing by your idol, but you see there's nowhere the younger generations can make a dent in the field? And I think that is also one of the reasons why so many scientists and so many intellectual people, they find a better job opportunity or a lifestyle or a better resources to work with in different countries, be it NASA or be it Russian space station or whatever. Please talk to us about it.
So, I very well remember the day I met Sunita Williams. So there's an interesting thing happened. There was this one reporter who asked Sunita Williams, how does Earth looks from space? And I met her at India Habitat Center in New Delhi. And this was 2016, I'm telling you, February month. And I told Sunita Williams replied, and she said, when I'm in space, everything looks equal. There's no boundary between any countries. I can't see any borders between any country. As soon as I land on the Earth, I have to show my passport immediately to exit from that country from where I've landed. Because we humans have created barriers and we have created boundaries between ourselves. Yes, that answer is still stuck somewhere in my mind. So when I met her next in New York in 2017, I met her sister also, Dinah Pandya.
Yeah.
And that's what we came to a very nice conclusion that I always wondered what it takes to become Sunita Williams. And the only life lesson that I got from her was being respectful towards your field. Respectful plus being humbleness. Doesn't matter who she interacted with. She wasn't like, oh, I'm Sunita Williams and this or that. That was her modesty. So it's very important to idolize right people, and I'm very happy and it's very interesting to see that I actually got the right opportunity of interacting with right people at a very young age. That's the reason I'm here. Even when I met Rakesh Sharma, I felt the same. We meet every year somewhere down the lane. I go to
some summit or a workshop or something.
I go to his house normally.
Right.
We sit and chat. The last year we couldn't do because of COVID, but I've been going to his place every year since. Actually, I will tell you an interesting story. The first flight that I took in my life was to meet him only.
That's nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's the best memory of my life. Yeah. So,
I can tell it meant a lot to you.
Yeah. I still remember Sunita Williams putting my hand on my shoulder. I still remember Rakesh Sharma said one interesting thing that it's going to remain with me throughout.
What was it? Tell us.
Yeah. He said that, he said, do you know, Aryan, what is the difference between you and me? Is that I'm a meteorite, one shot wonder. You're a star that you shine forever. But the difference between you and me is that stars, they always shine brighter, but meteors like me are one shot wonder. And I was like, sir, मेरी औकात नहीं है, sir, क्या बात कर रहे हो? And he's like, no, it's nothing like that. And imagine that guy has been living 15 years since at the same place where he's right now in Tamil Nadu. And somebody told me, not him, but the person who took me to meet him,
Right.
she told me that nobody knows that he's that Rakesh. Only the grocery store, only the hair salon people and the club knows that he's that Rakesh. Otherwise his neighbors, they don't know that he's that Rakesh into space. And somebody told me that once Rakesh Sharma and Saina Nehwal was in flight, but everybody recognized Saina Nehwal, but nobody recognized Rakesh Sharma.
It's probably because he doesn't want to get.
Exactly. So he doesn't want that kind of visibility. He could be a TEDx and motivational speaker.
Yeah.
He would have made millions, billions.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to. Because, again, it depends what kind of life you want. Right? I personally agree that at the age of 14 I wanted fame. And if I ran for fame. I don't disagree with it. And at the age of 19 I realized that it's shit. And that's when because everybody was expecting me to do great always. Nobody wants me to fail, and that's the crazy part. That's when I decided that my visibility should go down. And that's when I decided that my number of interviews, number of interaction, number of online talks needs to be decreased. Last year I only gave 2-3 talks. That's it. So in coming months, I to be honest, people feel that I'm a dumb, I can make billions. But my biggest aim of my life is to disappear. Nobody can find me. And I want to live my life very peacefully. Something which is for the people. That's the reason I always follow in the Indian Constitution there is an Article 51A, which says that to create the harness of scientific temperament in people. So it's a duty of every citizen. That's what I feel that about. That's what I dedicate my life towards it. But as we were discussing, I told you that I don't want fame. That is the reason I will get fame. See, that's what it happened. That's how it is.
Yeah.
That's how it's been with me. And there is a contract that a very famous TV show wants to sign with me, that they want me to host. Everybody knows it. The show. If I come on the show, then I will make shit of millions of money. But I want to do that. I am also willing to sign the contract. I am in touch with the crew of Netflix and Arjun that I want to do this. But I'm more scared about the repercussions.
On your life.
Yeah. Right now I have a car. Right. I have a gunner. I have a security. I feel so trapped. I'm gonna go to Srinagar after this. Right now I have only one gunner. After that I'm gonna have 6-7 gunners.
But that's just protocols.
The protocols, but imagine you're going on a date. You're carrying 6 gunners. Oh man, it's the most embarrassing thing.
Don't want to do that on your first night.
Yeah, no. Exactly. So it's terrible. You can't do that. So
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like all this. That's not how I want to live. But there are people who want to live like that. So it's all about perspective that you see. Perspective, If I see this camera, it reminds me of something. If you see this camera or even the mic or anything, it reminds you of
individual point of view.
Yeah. If I show you a pen and if we start thinking in the same manner that how does the pen works, then we can't change the world.
Yeah.
Somebody must have thought about this sword in a different manner. So all of us in the room have to think very differently. Otherwise,
I think that's something that's also what's been going on all around the world. Like we talk about equality, and I was talking to we both know Ankita, right? And I was talking to her about equality, and we had this dialogue about we can only create equality through equity. And that's the only way. But we can only achieve equity if we give equal value to every point of view that we have. I mean, I'm not saying every point of view is going to be valuable or not valuable. We have to be available and to be acceptable of our community. That's what's going to promote the innovative thinkers. That's what's going to encourage them. And I really commend this thing that you said, and I fucking salute that, is the fact that your relationship with fear and failure, and it has motivated me. I have goosebumps right now. I love how you're sort of hugged with fear and have a relationship with it as your driver, as a motivator. And you want to fail because you've clicked onto the fact that that's where the fucking learning is. That's where you're going to discover more. If you're a success, what's beyond that? Okay, you're right. Then you have to find something else. But with space, with astronomy, you can be right and there's still more. You can be wrong, but there's still more. And it's with everything. I really like that, man. Tell us how did Spark Astronomy get its foundational steps?
Basically, there are thousands of startups. If you look at the government statistics, it says that before 2014, there were only 400 startups. But after that, there are more than 60,000, 70,000 startup registered, which is a very brilliant number. I often believe that you don't need an investor in a company. I'm not a business guy, but this is a very controversial statement that I'm making. That you don't need an investor, and you don't need any investment. What you need is an idea. Let me tell you. Let's hold on. And if idea helps the people, if it helps the market, then you can boom, dude. Like, there is no way. My company was the first to make astronomy labs. And let me tell you, like, in just a couple of 4 years, if you search the best company, we have never paid anybody to do this. And I don't believe in paying somebody to doing anything like that. But our name always comes the first when it comes to astronomy or something. Because we catered the audience, and the audience for us was not private schools. It was not for Delhi or Bombay or Bangalore. For us was the rural. The moment you come and do something out of the boundary, for example, I am establishing labs in a rural setup where the electricity doesn't come for 24 hours. It will make news, it will give you fame. You don't have to call any media. You don't have to pay them. I don't pay them. So it's basically like that. So it similarly works in a setup. The idea of Spark Astronomy is to provide sciences, and it should reach to rural areas. And when I say rural, it should cater every audience. It should cater rural, plus it should cater everybody.
Hearing as we go into the foundation steps of Spark Astronomy, I think, and again, you might be modest about this, you are known to be an astronomer, scientist, but I think you also have a knack for business, man. I see an entrepreneur in you too.
See, if you want to make money, you have to be an entrepreneur. From a government job, you can't make money. If you make money, then...
No, but who's to say that you have to work in the government for all your life? It's totally on your will.
See, the setup is always different. It depends on like that. There are people who want to... See, if I talk about myself, let's not talk about people, let's talk about myself. It's that I'm not a permanent guy. And I don't want to keep myself permanent. I want to establish now. The day around 20,000-25,000 labs gets established, I'm going to stop this business. See, my passion is for mountains. I'm a mountain guy. So I like mountaineering, I like astronomy, I like astrophotography. And mine is not to actually... If you would have asked me when I was 14 that how much money I need, my answer was still the same, that I don't want to make money, and it's 21. The three things that I've always controlled in my life is fame, money, and sex. These are the three things that I consider. If any of them goes out of control, you are gone.